But only to say that the book is a history of the Cricket World Cup. I've been fortunate enough to watch and cover every single World Cup from 1979, which was the second World Cup. The first one I only saw films of, and thereafter I've been having the privilege of being present at every single World Cup. 1983 to me is the most memorable moment, not just personally, but I believe also for Indian and world cricket, for the simple reason that naturally it turned the fortunes of India. As far as limited overs cricket was concerned, it was a most unexpected victory because India were by no means a fancied side. And what I explain in my book, and which very few people seem to be aware of, is that there was a hint of the shape of things to come just a couple of months earlier, when India were visiting the West Indies. In those days, as difficult as it may be to imagine, it was simply impossible to beat the West Indies in the West Indies. And so they were absolutely invincible at home. And as you know, they won the 75 and the 79 World Cups. But what happened, and again, I was lucky to be there personally to watch a match in a place called Berbice in Guyana, where India beat the West Indies in a one-day match. Surprise, surprise. And here was India, who had lost to Sri Lanka in the 79 World Cup when Sri Lanka were not a test playing side. And India had suddenly emerged on top against the West Indies in their backyard. And so that really gave the team, and I watched this with my own eyes, a certain confidence. And that led up to 1983, the World Cup. As I said, just a couple of months later, India beat the West Indies in the opening match at Old Trafford, which a lot of people forget. We beat them, of course, in the final, but we actually beat them in the league stage of the tournament. And when everybody seemed extremely surprised, but some of us who were present in the West Indies and who had seen India beat the West Indies, we were not so surprised, because the Indian team, particularly somebody like Mohinder Amarnath, had become quite accustomed to playing the West Indies fast bowling, and that really made a difference. Of course, as I said, this is to me the most memorable moment. It turned the fortunes of Indian cricket as far as the finances were concerned, and it also transformed the finances of world cricket, because India became a financial superpower as far as cricket is concerned, and that wealth has spread to the world. And as you heard David Gower say, that it's today $1 billion game, and therefore, it's not something that was easily envisaged in 1983 until this most unexpected victory took place. Maybe a word in favor of Kapil Dev would be appropriate. The fact that he was an aggressive player, I think, changed the mindset of the Indian team, and that certainly has stood them in good stead. Of course, it was not until 2011 that India won the World Cup again, but let us hope that we'll do it again this time. So with those words, I think if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
We all know what was happened with India in last World Cup, right? So what is your thought that if Sami was included in that squad, so result would be different, number one. And number two, the bowling department of India in 2023 World Cup is the best bowling department till now.
At the end of the day, this has been my view throughout, that if you win the World Cup, you'll probably win it because of your bowling rather than your batting. You may have a very good batting side, but at the end of the day, if you take wickets, then you will automatically restrict the opposition. So that is very important. India have a tremendous set of bowlers. It's not just Mohammad Shami, but it's also Bumrah. And I think Siraj is a very, very promising bowler. The spin attack is good. I wish it was easy to play Ravichandran Ashwin. But it's a very difficult choice because clearly Jadeja is the better batsman. But that would be the perfect combination because you would have an absolutely match-winning bowling side. I do agree with you that Shami was neglected in England 4 years ago as well, and this time too they were making that mistake to start with, but now I think he's embarrassed the team management, and let's hope that they will not make any further errors as we go forward.
Yeah, Mr. Ashis.
Yes.
As you talked about 1983 World Cup, there were some unsung heroes like Balwinder Singh Sandhu, who took early wickets. Then there was Roger Beanie. These were all unsung heroes. And there was a talk of dropping Gavaskar. Yeah.
There was one match where Gavaskar did not play in the tournament, and yes, he was dropped rather than being injured or unwell. I wouldn't say Roger Binney was an unsung hero because he was the bowler of the tournament, and deservingly so. The man of the tournament, of course, was Mohinder Ramannath, but the bowler of the tournament was Roger Binney, and he bowled magnificently because his style of swing bowling was perfect for English conditions. And as far as Sandhu, I think the great story about Balwinder Sandhu is, of course, in the final. And I still recall this, that when India were bowled out for 1983, and it wasn't a great total. Most people thought, if not just about everybody, that that was it. The West Indies were meant to win and they would win. And then what happened was, Kapil, before he went out to the ground, he told his players in the dressing room that it's not a great total, but it's a total with which we can fight, and let's go and fight. So they went onto the field, and Kapil, being the number one bowler, he opened the bowling from the pavilion end, and the next over was bowled by Balwinder Sandhu from the nursery end. And there he was, bowling a ball which Gordon Greenwich thought would be an outswinger, but the ball came in and Greenwich left the delivery and he was bowled. So a famous delivery in a famous match.
Yeah, I interviewed Balwinder Singh Sandhu and he told that Kapil Dev gave him the ball and said, Ballu, tu apna kaam kar ja. Ballu, he was called Ballu.
Yes, what he said, and this is something that he says in the documentary that I made, that Greenwich was not able to read his in-swinger, and he would mistake that in-swinger to be an outswinger. But again, this was a delivery where he bowled it with an outswing action, but the ball came in, and that was completely deceptive and clean bowled Greenwich.
From these two,
Sorry, which two?
apart from 83 and 2011 when India became champions, which was an all-round performance from the Indian team considering all factors?
Okay, fair enough. Then I think I would go for 2003 when India reached the final, played very well under Sourav Ganguly, and lost to an outstanding Australian side in the final. Certainly that. I think just to clarify one thing which I think you had referred to, the semi-final becomes not just a matter of cricketing ability, but also a test of the mind. and therefore you're at a knockout stage, and so there's no coming back if you lose the match. You know, at the league stage you may lose one or two and yet qualify for the knockout stage. So that little pressure does play on your mind, and it would be fair to say that India on the last two occasions in 2015 and 2019 have fallen at that point. But this time I think there is home advantage. There's going to be tremendous crowd backing, and India are a very, very strong side. So if they keep their cool, they should make it all the way.
And one thing, Mr. Ashis, as you said, that you were witness to the match in which Harshal Gibbs dropped the catch and the captain said, "Man, you dropped the cup." So do you remember that incident?
Yes, I mean, not only that, I think South Africans, starting from their maiden appearance in World Cups, which was in Australia in 1992, have been thought of as chokers, which is a term that's generally used for the South Africans, that they look a good side, they're capable of winning, but ultimately something happens and they are eliminated. And that happened in the 1999 semi-final as well. But that said, I think on this occasion, in 2023, South Africa are looking very strong. And again, if they keep their calm, they could be a handful. And we would get a foretaste in a couple of days at the Eden Gardens.